Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the December 4th, 2025 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the agenda today, there are speaker request forms located over to the left side of the room. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the secretary. The public hearing on item number 1, the approval of the November 20th, 2025 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting minutes, is hereby opened.
Motion to approve?
All right, Vince made the motion to approve the minutes, and I believe Pat seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
Good morning, Chair, Planning Commission. Item number 2 before you is a variance request. This is a request, to allow an 8-foot fence in the front yard in lieu of a 4-foot fence. So we are located right now at 112 East Knollwood Street. This property is currently zoned general commercial, and future land use is mixed use commercial. And access to this property is off of East Knollwood Drive. It does abut to the north, Interstate 90. So what the applicant is proposing to do, this is a picture of the property as it exists today. You can see the only development on this property as of right now is a cellular communication facility that has been there for quite some time and was permitted through a conditional use permit. What the applicant is proposing to do is to install an 8-foot black iron black iron fence on the perimeter of this property. There is a major drainage easement on the north side that they will remain outside of. What they are proposing to do is to extend a fence all the way around the property. It will border the cell tower facility. So here's the cell tower. The cell tower already has a 6-foot tall chain link fence with barbed wire that surrounds that. They will not be impacting that fencing at all. That fence will remain. They will border it on the east and the north, and then extend their black iron fence around the rest of the perimeter of the property, staying outside of that major drainage easement that exists on the north side of the property. By code, only a 4-foot fence is allowed in any front yard setback, but for the purposes of future development that they are planning for this property, they would like to bring that fence all the way to the front yard, all the way to the property line that abuts East Knollwood Drive. So that is essentially what is being requested today, is to allow the 8-foot fence to be along East Knollwood Drive here. When staff was looking at this, we did take note that this property is located almost at the eastern terminus of Knollwood Drive. East Knollwood Drive right here, just down the street, does dead end at a cul-de-sac, and this property does abut a significant city drainage lot. So right over here is where city property starts. This extends, just to give you a frame of reference, extends all the way around back behind like the Grand Gateway Hotel is how far that city-owned property extends. So like I said, the applicant does anticipate developing on this property here in the near future. The fence, like they're proposing, will allow for them to secure the site so that when construction does happen, the equipment and the materials that are there for the purposes of construction are not vulnerable to theft or any sort of other activity that might occur on the property. As of right now, with there being no fencing, they do experience quite a bit of trespassing on this property. The iron fencing will still allow for a level of seeing into the property for both code enforcement and for the police department to be able to see what's happening on the property, but will provide security for the applicant. So staff is recommending approval of this variance request with the consideration that it has minimal impact on the surrounding neighborhood and that it does not appear to be injurious or detrimental to the public good. I'll stand for any questions. The applicants in the audience as well. Oh, yes. Elevation of the fence. There you go. That's what it's going to look like. So black iron fencing, not opaque, so still will be see-through.
Mr. Chair,
Vicky?
Cassie, could you also explain what the future use is? I think that's important to demonstrate why security is needed.
Yes. So the applicant does operate a foundation business, if I'm correct. So they will be anticipating to build their office building on this property. And so that's what they'll be operating. They also have thrown out the idea of potentially subdividing this property at some point in time and putting 2 buildings on it. That's why you see, on the site plan that there's potentially a second building site over here. And then they are also moving the approach to the west just a little bit. Currently, this is where that approach exists. They are moving it to the west just a little bit to be able to access this site and still allow for a potential another future access over here if they do build again.
Mr. Chair, I just thought it was important to note that this is zoned general commercial, and while office use is certainly permitted in general commercial, a contractor's yard would not be, but we can appreciate that there is a need for security along Knollwood.
Thanks, Vicky. Just for my recollection, the city has a park development down the street from this on the books. Does it run into that drainage area and sort of redevelop the stormwater feature, or is it separate from that?
I think if we can have Todd chime in on that one.
Sure. Todd?
Yeah, the property to the east, there is a regional pond. I do know that the Parks Department they're working on a plan to develop that property. And as a part of it, there will be some work on the pond to increase the capacity of it. But this project here would not impact that, though.
Thank you. Anything else from the commission on this one? Vince?
Thank you, Chair. So the fence is, you can actually see through it, for the security and for fires. If they wanted to change that and actually board that up as opposed to having it, having the visibility, do they have to come in front of the Planning Commission again?
Mr. Chair,
Vicky?
the proposal today is a wrought iron fence. It's a very decorative fence. And so if it's the desire of the Zoning Board of Adjustment to grant this, you can stipulate that it's to allow a wrought iron black fence as proposed.
Thank you.
Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is an adequate request because it's at the end of nowhere, really, and I think it'll be an improvement to the neighborhood. And so I would make a motion to approve this with the idea that this is not injurious to the neighborhood, and it seems like a special circumstance.
Mr. Chair, for the motion maker and seconder, a friendly amendment that the proposed black wrought iron fence.
I'll add that to my.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Karen made the motion as she stated. Eric Hikas seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion to approve the variance with the revised stipulation? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right, Karen beat
Second.
me to it. Karen made the motion to adjourn. Vince made the motion to second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that takes us to the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for December 4th, 2025, beginning at 7:09 in the morning. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the Planning Commission agenda today, there are speaker request forms on the table along the left wall. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the staff seated over there. Items 1 through 4 have been placed on the consent calendar today and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. Findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the city council. The city council will make the final decision with the exception of the following items. Item 2, 25UR035. Item 3, 25PD034. And item 4, 25UR037. The Rapid City Planning Commission's action on these 3 items is final unless any party appeals that decision to the Rapid City Council. All appeals must be submitted in writing to the Department of Community Development by close of business on the 7th full calendar day following action by the Planning Commission. Are there any items 1 through 4 that staff would like removed today?
Number 3, please.
Okay. Any items 1, 2, or 4 that any planning commissioner would like removed for separate consideration? And are there any items 1, 2, or 4 that any audience member would like removed for separate consideration? The chair would then entertain a motion to approve items 1, 2, and 4 in accordance with staff's recommendations.
Motion. Motion to approve items 1, 2, and 4.
All right. Vince made the motion to approve those items, and Eric Heikus seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 3.
Mr. Chair, we pulled item 3. Alicia noted that she needed to abstain from this one.
All right.
Our recommendation is to approve with stipulations.
Any other questions from the commission on item 3? Karen?
Mr. Chair, I'll move approval of the item number 3 with the stipulations.
Okay. All right, Karen made the motion to approve item 3 with stipulations. Pat seconded that motion. And Alicia will be abstaining from this item. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5.
Good morning again. Item number 5 before you is a major amendment to a plan development overlay to allow an addition to an attached garage with a reduced side yard setback. So right now we are at 3910 Park Ridge Drive. This property is zoned low density residential 1 with a plan development overlay. Future land use of this property is low density neighborhood and takes access off of Park Ridge Drive, which is a local street. What the applicant is proposing to do here, this property is currently developed with a single-family dwelling with an attached 2-car garage. They are proposing to add a 3rd stall onto this garage, so you can see it here on the east side of this property. The addition would be a 1-stall garage, about 264 square feet in size, and would be, like I said, on the east side. They are also proposing to expand their driveway in order to accommodate getting access to that 3rd garage stall. So when staff was looking at this, the reduced setback does have to come through as an exception through the plan development process. So they are requesting to reduce that east side yard setback from what would be 8 feet to 6.5 feet. You can see right here, this is that proposed garage addition. So that reduction would go down to 6.5 feet. The purpose of a side yard setback requirement is to make sure that there's adequate separation between structures for privacy and also for fire safety. When staff was looking at this, the fire department did note that if the major amendment is approved, that on that east side, because it will be most impactful to the east adjacent property, the fire department does want a stipulation that there be no windows on the east wall, that the east wall be constructed with fire-rated material, and that the soffit not allow any ventilation into the attic for fire safety. Public Works did also note on this one as well, because you can see here is the new area of the driveway. The maximum width of the driveway within the right-of-way is 30 feet. It can expand, widen beyond that within the property boundaries, but within the right-of-way, 30 feet is the maximum. So when they submit their building permit for this, if this does get approved, they will need to show on the site plan that that 30-foot maximum driveway width is not exceeded. They are proposing this as they do have they do have children that will be soon driving. And so they are proposing this third garage stall in order to allow for additional cars to be parked within the garage structure. So this did originally come in as a minimal amendment to this plan development overlay because it is within the parameters of what could be approved through a minimal amendment administratively. However, when staff was reviewing that minimal amendment, we found that because of the proximity to that east adjacent property and because three-stall garages are not something that is dominant in this neighborhood, most of the garages in this neighborhood are just two-car garages. Staff found that this was more an appropriate request for a major amendment so that the public notification requirement was there and so that the surrounding neighborhood and the neighboring property owners could come and state their support or concerns with the application through the public hearing process. As of date, staff did receive one letter of support from the property owner to the south across the street on Park Ridge Drive. They support the request, stating that it will help alleviate cars being parked in the driveway, over the sidewalk, or on the street. So I do want to point out in terms of separation, this structure, even after it is constructed, will still be approximately 31 feet from the adjacent dwelling on the east property. There is a deck on the west side of the east abutting property, and this structure will still be about 19 feet from that deck as well. So it does still maintain adequate separations. So here you can see the property as it exists today. That third garage stall would go over here in this area. Here's a little bit closer picture of what that separation looks like. As you can see, they'll have to do some grading and things along those lines to be able to level this area out for that third garage stall addition. Here is east on Park Ridge Drive, so you can see even in this picture, two-car garage. When we went out there and took staff pictures, we did also note that there are some properties that do have one double stall garage and then a single garage as well, so technically a three-car garage. And then this is west on Park Ridge Drive, so again, here you can see double car garage. This one has a double car garage. But ultimately, staff, given the fact that the neighboring property owners and the surrounding properties did now have the ability to weigh in on this if there was questions or concerns, and staff has not received anything, staff does recommend approval of this major amendment with the stipulations noted in the staff report. I'll stand for any questions. I don't think the applicant is here today.
All right, Eric Heikus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Quick question. Can we go to the image that shows the side and the other? That's good enough. Will this impact drainage on the neighbor's parcel? That's better. Will this create a negative drainage challenge for the neighbor or this property by extending?
I'll let Todd speak to that.
All right, Todd.
I don't expect there to be a significant impact on drainage. The neighbor's property is required, or the building code would require that they are draining away from their house as well, and so that there's a swale.
Okay. Thank you, Todd. Would a retaining wall be required or no? Looks like 3-4 feet of grade chain maybe there. We're under permits for this.
What's that?
If a wall is required there, it's permit.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Vince?
Thank you. So right now there's a tree, obviously, with no leaves, no foliage or anything on it, but is this tree going to have to be removed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Vicki?
Todd, could you explain what's the maximum width of the approach that would be allowed at this location?
Todd?
So for a three-car garage that is set back less than 30 feet to the right-of-way, the maximum approach is 30 feet wide. I think that was in the stipulations as well. The current one is 24 feet, so they can widen that up to 6 more feet.
And then once they're inside the sidewalk line, they can cut over to a wider spot. Okay. Vince, anything else?
No, thank you.
Anything else from the commission? Questions? Comments? Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to move approval of this item with the stipulations as noted.
All right, Karen made the motion to approve with the stipulations. Mike Quasney seconded that. Any discussion on the motion to approve? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6.
It stopped working.
There it
goes.
It works. So good morning. Number 6 is a rezone application to rezone the northern portion of the Rapid City landfill from public district to heavy industrial district. So this property currently contains a material recovery facility, which is right there, a composting facility up above, and then small accessory buildings. So the area of the rezone is going to be approximately 104 acres in size. It excludes the leased out areas to the Army National Guard and to the Community Corrections Inc., which is the areas that are shown in blue on that map. So the property is currently zoned public district. The southern portion of the landfill, as you can see, is zoned heavy industrial district. And then if you look south of Elkvale Road, between Old Folsom Road and Highway 79, that area is primarily zoned heavy industrial district to just this general area. So when looking at this rezone request, staff did think that this was an extension of the existing land use patterns in this area. It's also within close proximity to the Black Hills Industrial Center as well. So the future land use of this property is public, which does not allow the proposed zoning district. However, the city's comprehensive plan does allow flexibility when applying future land use categories when you're achieving the overarching vision for Rapid City's future is how the comprehensive plan words it. And so the solid waste division has indicated that this rezone is necessary for the future land uses and operations of the landfill that otherwise would be not permitted or excluded in the public district. So the property is accessed off 79, which is classified as a principal arterial street on the city's major street plan. This is just an image of the composting building, looking north towards 79, looking south towards 79. So staff is recommending that this item be approved because it's an extension of the existing land use patterns. Comprehensive plan supports it, allows for that flexibility in future land use, applying future land use categories, and it's necessary to allow for the future operation of the landfill. So with that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Thanks.
Mr. Chair,
Vicki?
just another point of clarification. While it is zoned public, and public does allow the city to do a lot of different things on public-owned land, in this case, the city is looking at partnering with GCC, and the next item on the agenda is a conditional use to allow a facility to process tires into an alternative fuel source at the existing landfill, and that's what initiated this rezone. When you look at the definition of public, it's for those uses that are operated by the city, by the state, or by the federal government. And so to just make it as clean as we could, and what more appropriate area to allow heavy industrial than next to the landfill, we worked with Public Works to bring forward this rezone to heavy industrial. Part of the reason for doing this is to increase the revenue options at the landfill. We currently are struggling with all of the services that we're providing, and there's a cost to that, and trying to keep that cost down to the end user. Doing things like this in the long run helps us address some of those issues.
Thanks, Vicki. Eric Heikus?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really want to put out a lot of praise for our landfill. I think we have one of the more progressive and innovative landfills in the country here in Rapid City. I take great pride in our landfill. I know that, you know, trash is not exactly glamorous, but the way that we handle ours is really ahead of its time. It's good to see this expansion happening. Will there be, Tanner, will there be an access from Catron as part of this? Is that considered, is that, I know
Yeah,
we
that-
front there, but do we, no, okay.
No.
Okay, thank you. I'll be supporting this. Thank you.
Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Never heard of TDAs or TDFs until now, so it's kind of interesting. My questions are about the facilities, but since, you know, the next item is, you know, this is zoning, so it would kind of impact my vote for this. My question is, with the closest house being, you know, 0.62 miles away, I know they passed all the permits and, you know, passed muster for all the environmental. What will the, you know, the actual impact be in surrounding areas? Noise? Are we talking particulates? Are we talking fumes? I mean, I know they've done all their studies, but what will the actual end result be for people close to this facility when it's all said and done?
I think that's a valid question, and it is more specific to the next item, but Tanner's going to ask you to continue that item
Okay.
because we didn't notice it correctly. They're going to process the tires here to get them into a state where they become fuel alternative, but they're not going to be burned at this location.
Right.
GCC purchased the cement plant property. That use would go at that location, and that is regulated by Danner, not by us.
Right, so half of it's going to Dakota and half of it's going to sale to the public,
Right.
it looks like from the report. I guess I can save it till the next one, but I'm just curious, you know, how much, all this will be processed indoors, I'm assuming? Nothing will be processed, you know, out in the open?
Well, that's
And
the very reason why
contained.
we're continuing it, is we too thought in visiting with Public Works staff that it was indoors and advertised it accordingly, but it's, Tanner, could you describe the design of that building?
It's, I guess it's a covered wing at the end of that building, so that there's a covered roof over top of it, but it won't be indoors or enclosed. It'll be out in the open.
Okay.
Just a covered roof or a roof over top.
Gotcha. And my other question would be, you know, stockpiles. If you had a processed product sitting outdoors, you know, if it rains, would it leach into the ground? I mean, you know, these tires obviously have chemicals in them, so just kind of
These
curious.
tires
how-
are out there right now.
I mean, when they're processed and ground up into pellets,
Oh,
you know.
yes.
That was my question.
Hopefully, we'll have Public Works in the room with us at the next meeting. They believe the conditional use is being continued today, so usually when we continue an item, we don't discuss it.
Sure.
So if you wanted to continue the rezone with it, you could, even though we do believe that heavy industrial is appropriate at this location, independent of this specific use.
Gotcha.
And this use is conditional in heavy industrial. So you will have the opportunity to determine if you align with that use, and then any expansion going forward would be brought back to you as well.
Understood. Thanks.
Mike Quasney?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Those questions that just came up from Kelly here is some of the questions that I had. The other question I had, I guess, and that you kind of alluded to it, is what does the traffic along Catron see? There is a lot of traffic on Catron. It is a major structure, major road. I guess the view, we went from thinking it's a building to now we've got an open, and I guess the view to the public, the landfill does a great job with their little hill that they have of hiding what they have there. I guess in view of this, are we going to have an exposed area that is now viewed by the public and changes what the public sees in the landfill?
Tanner?
Yeah, so that would, I just got my cursor. If you're talking about the TDA and the tire processing facility, it's over on this side, and I believe that's covered from view from Catron Boulevard. Vicky, correct me if I'm wrong, but Yeah. But yeah, it's quite a distance away too from Catron Boulevard. Yep.
Does that help you, Mike? So there is not going to be any change to the elevation of what's out there today. Any significant change that would open this area up for view. And I agree, I think that the city has done a phenomenal job trying to ensure that we are operating the landfill without creating an eyesore along Catron Boulevard. Highway 79, more of a truck route. When you drive down that corridor, you look over, you do see some part of the landfill, but even the open raw operation is pretty hidden from our two arterial streets.
They've done a phenomenal job of that, and I compliment them on that. I just didn't want to go forward and then change that, what they've done so well. The other, I like the idea that there's a possibility, I think it came to council about the landfill prices going up, and hopefully this will help to keep prices down for the public, that we, the citizens of Rapid City don't have to pay a whole lot more. I don't know how that affects, like if you drop tires off, do you still have to pay? Or is it a free, or how does this affect it? I guess I don't know. And maybe that's a question that we go forward when we get into the building, and it's not even maybe our area of concern, but I think it opens up some opportunity for us to discuss it in the public.
Mr. Chair? So this is great conversation, but it's really specific to the proposed use, which is the next item. If you prefer, you could make a recommendation to continue the rezone so that they could be heard in conjunction with each other. Or if you believe that this corridor, again, south of Catron, is where we should be moving more of our heavy industrial uses, then it would be appropriate to support the rezone independent of the use. And then if the conditional use permit is then reviewed at your next meeting with the proper notification showing that it is not a fully enclosed building but partially, that would be the appropriate time to put additional stipulations or conditions on that use.
I guess I would make the proposal, or I would move this forward to the next meeting, is what I'd like to do.
Do you have a date on that?
Yeah, January 8th is your next planning commission meeting.
And coincide it with what we're going to be discussing in the next item.
It would be to continue the rezone to January 8th to be heard in conjunction with the associated conditional use permit.
Please.
Is there a second to Mike's motion as stated by Vicky from the commission? Okay, Kelly seconded that. Discussion on the motion. I got a few lights up here. Karen? I didn't turn your mic on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I understand, and this is not to the motion, obviously, because I just wanted to add one thing for the next meeting that we have when we're talking about the next item, and that is the storage of any trucks that are on there, where they're going to be located, and also the weight of the trucks that are going to be on Catron and those places. How is that going to affect the road system? So I don't need the answers, but I just thought maybe we should add that to the mix of what we're going to talk about. So that's it.
Mr. Chair,
Vicky?
we can get answers to those questions and actually update the report.
I've got another city light up, ComDev 3. Kip?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just to answer the question, I did take a look on Google Street View, and you really cannot see the landfill at all from Catron Boulevard. That hill blocks the majority of it. And then as you get closer to the intersection with Campbell and Highway 79, the driver's license facility really blocks off the view from that building where the tire processing would be. It is quite evident along Highway 79, but as we talked about, that's more of an industrial type development truck route roadway. So you'll see it from there, but really can't see it from Catron Boulevard based on Google Street View.
I'm going to chime in here with a question just on, Tanner, you said future uses is the reason for the rezone request. Are there other uses besides this tire recycling being considered that would not be allowed in public, or is it just this on the agenda today?
We can check back with the Public Works staff, and I can't defer to Todd because this is not in his area. But we can certainly add that to the report as well. And I know part of it is that by working with an outside company that can take something that would just fill the landfill and do something positive with it, and partnering with them and giving them a spot at the landfill so that we don't have tires stored elsewhere in the city. I think there's positive in that, and I'm not sure what other master plan projects would be coming forward. And that's a part of what you have to look at by zoning it heavy industrial. Is that appropriate for this area? What are the permitted uses? Any conditional use would always come before you, and this certainly is a conditional use. But we'll add that to the list of things to try to get some answers on and put it in the report.
I'd appreciate that. I just think of this as the dump, and what the city's doing there, and if there's other plans, in addition to this tire recycling, it'd be good to know as we consider a rezone.
Sure.
Mike Quasney?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we mentioned at the last meeting, we have this street as a truck route, yes, but we also have it as an entrance into our city. So I hope as things go forward, we always consider what we're doing to make that entrance look. And even though we're taking care of Catron, we also need to take care of that entrance to our city and make sure that that continues to look good and not create a view that is not conducive to what we want. So I just bring that up as a add-on.
All right. Eric Heiketh?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was thinking along the same lines, Mike. In fact, we talked about that there wouldn't be any access from this parcel onto Catron. Maybe some language or consideration in the long term about view shed buffering or that sort of thing, impact of view as part of the whole holistic work we're doing here. Maybe that should be a little bit, maybe some sort of setback or something could be considered in the process as well. So, yep, I'm thinking right along the same lines as you, Mike.
Mr. Chair,
Vicki?
we cannot approve a rezone with conditions. The state of South Dakota doesn't allow for conditional rezones. However, if you do believe that you want to see all uses, when you do consider the rezone, if it is continued and consider at your January 8th meeting, you could put a planned development overlay on this rezone area of the landfill, and then everything would be brought before you for consideration.
All right. Something to think about. So the motion on the floor, or the motion that exists, is to continue this item to January 8th to be heard in conjunction with the following item, apparently. Any further comments on that? Questions? All those in favor of continuing, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. That would carry, though, with Eric voting no.
A clarification.
Oh, can you want to get on the mic? I got it. Eric?
Sorry. My no is not opposing the rezone. My no is I'm ready to vote on this today. So just to be clear. So.
All right. Item number 7.
So as Vicki mentioned, item number 7, we're asking that it be continued to the January Planning Commission meeting, just due to a publishing error.
All right. Motion on this one from anyone?
Second.
No, you got to make the motion, Vince.
thought she's made it.
Oh, no.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Vince made the motion to continue to January 8th, and Pat seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion to continue? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, that's the end of the regular agenda. Any items for us, Vicki?
Well, as you probably picked up on, we do not have a second meeting in December. We stopped that several years ago. It was hard on the applicants. It always fell right before Christmas. It became cumbersome for them. And so there was pretty much universal support so that we all get a break. January 8th will be the next time we see you. So we just wanted to wish all of you happy holidays. Be safe, be happy, and be grateful that we live in this fantastic city.
Nice sentiments. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you all as well. Yeah, no kidding. All right, anything from the commission? Okay.
Second.
Karen made the motion to adjourn. Eric Hikas seconded that motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And we are adjourned at 7:42.